Hey guys, thank you so much for stopping by to watch another episode here at All I See Is W, where we talk about finance, investing, and self-development. Well, today I wanted to create this video to share with you stock news updates on three companies that I think can have very bullish runs in the remaining months of 2021 and years to come. Now, before I begin, I wanted to inform you that I am not a financial analyst. Please take my information as guidance and apply it to your investing strategy. Also, just wanted to share with you some products that I have on e-commerce, Amazon. So for example, I have a set of stainless steel metal straws with the cleaner. And as you can see, the brand here, All I See Is W, with the 5 R's, where reducing, recycling, reusing, repairing, and refusing can really add value in the context of this environment. And there are stainless steel metal straws in silver, blue, multicolored, and gold pink. So that would really help out. And just check out the links down below, as well as insulator bottles right here with the All I See Is W, as well as the coffee mug cup, as well as tumblers that will be coming very soon. So I would really appreciate your support, especially during the summertime when we really need to hydrate ourselves and be mindful about the reduction of plastic use to enable a more healthy and clean environment all around us in generations to come. Let's begin with stock talks. Now, the first ticker I wanted to share with you is Skye Bioscience. For those of you who have been following me, I've been making videos on Skye for many months now. In fact, I've been following this company since November of 2020, when the company was called Emerald Bioscience, up until there was a new CEO in place back in September of 2020 named Puneet Dillon. He actually rebranded the company to Skye Bioscience, where its motto is "Sky is limitless." Basically, this is leveraging the pharmaceutical potential of cannabinoids and taking on glaucoma as an indications for use with one of its prodrug, because sky is limitless with this type of drug product. And they are deriving synthetic bioengineered derived natural medicine from cannabis and adding specific amino acids into the drug product so that it can deliver through the eye. And once it gets to the back side of the eye, that's when the natural molecule THC does its work, basically its magic. So let me go ahead and share with you my insights on 2Dip. He's the Senior Vice President of Strategy Development at Skye Bioscience. So let's take a look at that article and share with you what his insights are. As you can see, this is 2Dip here, and he's previously worked with Puneet Dillon at Oncosec. So as you can see, the team at Skye, they have that trust and respect built already, and they're basically just going to apply the same approach that worked at Oncosec and apply it to this type of drug product, THC VHS, which is a natural derived synthetic bioengineered molecule of cannabis, and with the addition of valine hemisuccinate. Now let's take a look at his takeaway. Okay, so 2Dip discusses the untapped potential of cannabinoids and cannabis derivatives as a distinct and important new class of pharmaceutical therapies, offering additional insights into Skye's decision to work with THC in the R&D of the company prodrug THC VHS, like what I mentioned, focused on glaucoma. 2 explains what makes Skye's approach unique, but also part of the tipping point the industry needs in the ongoing acceptance and advancement of cannabinoids to offer better therapeutic outcomes for patients living with diseases with unmet medical needs. Now, we know all of the legacy drug products that have been approved by like 20 years ago, like for example, latanoprost, which is owned by Pfizer. You have Timolol, which is owned by Bausch and Lomb. You have Ropressa, which is owned by a different pharmaceutical company. As you can see with Skye Bioscience preclinical trials data, where experiments were done on rabbits as subject groups, the intraocular pressure reduced significantly, and its drug product has shown higher efficacy compared to these legacy products. Now, if and when Skye is able to demonstrate safety and tolerability first, at least through phase 1 clinical trials, with insight on its reduction of IOP, while they are adding subject groups in anticipation of phase 1 clinical trials to evaluate IOP level reduction, and with a small number of patients having hypertension in the eye as part of phase 1 clinical trials, just to get a whole combination and full data set on the type of data that the company will be getting, and seeing if that will mirror the data that looks aligned to the preclinical trials data, which is likely. So this is looking very solid for the company, and I'll share with you the methods in terms of how Skye Bioscience will perform its phase 1 clinical trials based on extrapolating data that I've learned from this article. Now, the unique thing with this company is that they are using a natural medicine, and in order to get the drug product through the eye effectively, they've added amino acids. We know that THC is very lipophilic. It doesn't like the fluids in your eye. We have about 90% of fluid makeup in the eye, as well as innate receptors in the back. So how do you really get THC molecule binding to the receptors on the posterior end of the eye? This company has innovated a drug product adding valine hemisuccinate so that it can travel through the eye, and that's their patented technology there. And once it gets to the backside of the eye, the enzymes become inactive, the valine hemisuccinate, and then the THC does its job. That's great because it's not like your typical psychoactive effects that you're getting from smoking cannabis. And we know that many years there's been glaucoma patients inhaling cannabis, but the downside is you get the psychoactive high effect, and that will really not be effective for a broad scale of patients dealing with glaucoma, right? And now the data has demonstrated that the effects, the enzymes, have not shown in the blood or in the brain, and specifically the THC just works at the eye location, which is very beneficial. Now, what's unique about this product is that, let me go ahead and read this description here. The challenge with THC has been the inability to effectively deliver into the eye, where it can interact with the receptors that mediate IOP at the front of the eye, while also reaching the back of the eye, where the retinal ganglion cells, RGCs, of the optic nerve reside. RGCs are neuronal cells that play the vital role of processing visual information that begins as light entering the eye. If we can reach the back of the eye and help spare RGCs from apoptosis. Apoptosis is a biological term called programmed cell death. I remember this from like my undergraduate degree in biological sciences, learning about different cell programmed death pathways. So it's great to see this type of terminology again. Then we may also have an opportunity to realize the neuroprotective potential of cannabinoids and actually prevent blindness. We believe that these problems can be solved with our clinical formulation of THC-VHS. What is so special about Skye's drug product THC-VHS, right? Well, THC was shown to have impact on reducing IOP as early as 1970s. Since then, multiple clinical trials have been conducted to evaluate if THC could be used to treat glaucoma. Some studies evaluated smoking cannabis, others gave patients THC orally, and others tried to topically apply THC directly into the eye. In fact, many of these did show that IOP could be reduced by THC through multiple routes of administration. Unfortunately, the results were short-lived and were often associated with a lot of unwanted side effects. So that's key right there. The issue with THC is not easily absorbed by the body when taken orally. It is absorbed better when inhaled, but then it has a much shorter half-life or duration of effect. When delivered topically, it has almost zero absorption. The bottom line is that previous formulations and delivery methods have been inconsistent and unpredictable. One of the challenges in realizing the potential of cannabinoids like THC as an effective pharmaceutical agent is modifying it so that it has much higher or more predictable rate of absorption and metabolism. THC, like what I mentioned, is known as lipophilic molecule. What this means is the drug prefers oily solutions and does not dissolve well into water. This poses a problem because our bodies are over 50% water, and it poses an even larger problem for delivering drugs into the eye because water makes up over 90% of the eye. This is what makes THC-VHS special. By chemically modifying THC and adding an amino acid like valine along with hemisuccinate, we have made the THC more soluble in water and changed the physiochemical properties to allow this new molecule to penetrate deeper into the ocular tissue to reach the back of the eye. This was a key step in improving our ability to deliver THC into the relevant compartments of the eye. Additionally, we developed a proprietary formulation that further improves the penetration of THC-VHS into the eye. We did this by evaluating multiple formulation techniques from nanoparticles to basic emulsions. So this is the natural nomenclature of THC, which is derived from cannabis. And as you can see with the valine hemisuccinate, this is the new nomenclature of the patented drug product that Skye Bioscience has. In the end, we landed on a proprietary nano-emulsion formulation that has demonstrated its superior ability to not only deliver THC-VHS into the front of the eye, where it can exert its effects on improving IOP, but also to get into the back of the eye, where it can potentially impact and improve survival of RGCs, which we know are important in preserving sight. Our ability to now easily and reliably deliver THC into the eye through our proprietary prodrug and proprietary nano-emulsion formulation has demonstrated in animal models that our drug is better at reducing IOP than the current standard of care latanoprost. This is very exciting result and is one of the reasons we are committed to bringing this technology into the clinic for patients with glaucoma. Now, what's interesting is that at least for the phase 1 clinical trials that will begin in Q3 of this year, there will be placebo and THC VHS administered to patients. So patients won't really know, as well as the clinical investigator not knowing who has the placebo or the actual dose. And these doses will be going higher concentration of dose as well as lower concentration of dose, called single dose, right? And there's also multiple dose going on through different prolonged durations just to evaluate the effectiveness of bringing down IOP levels. So that's going to be very beneficial. And with Skye, their team is hard at work to complete all the necessary steps to initiate this study before the end of the year, and this means ensuring that they have enough drug manufactured, the appropriate preclinical safety, pharmacology, and toxicology studies are completed, the clinical protocol, investigator brochures, and case report forms all finalized. And according to 2Dip, he's confident that the company will achieve these milestones. Ultimately, the success of the study would allow us to move on to the next stage of development, where we will be able to fully evaluate the potential of THC-VHS in glaucoma patients in larger phase 2 and phase 3 clinical trials. This is what really excites Skye's team to be able to offer patients a new class of therapy that can potentially help to better control their glaucoma. Now, this is very huge because we know that this is $1 billion market, and THC VHS is really going to add value. And on another note, Skye has a drug product called CBDVHS that doesn't have a claim on intended use yet, but the company will be announcing that information in Q4 of this year, where it can have multiple indications for use. And I'm forecasting that it will likely be in the ocular disease arena, because with the strategy that I see Skye taking on is really having a laser sharp focus in adding value in the ocular disease space. I mean, you look at Jazz Pharmaceuticals, right? I mean, there's X amount of patients dealing with epileptic seizures for the drug product Epidiolex. However, looking at the amount of revenue that was brought in, like 500 million just from that drug product alone, annually. That just shows how effective and the potential in which glaucoma can be when Skye has this drug product approved for use once it demonstrates safety and effectiveness with this drug product THC-VHS. And one important note I wanted to share with you here is, with what Tu had mentioned, this takes me back to the days when Panit and I started OncoSec. In a similar fashion, that was at a time when cancer immunotherapy was still on the fringes of cancer research. And now they've really scaled up that company, and that company is doing really well right now. And they're basically going to apply the same methodologies and take Skye Bioscience to a level that we've never seen before. So overall, I just wanted to share with you takeaway from this article. If you really want to read it thoroughly, you can check out skyebioscience.com to read it in detail. But this is a very great article which gives you insight on the current politics around cannabis, the direction that the company is headed towards, and will give you very detailed information on how Skye Bioscience plans on performing its phase 1 clinical trials and the outlook in the years to come. Now, from a share price standpoint, I know you all are expecting me to give you some insights on that, and it just seems like with Skye Bioscience, I'm forecasting by sometime this year it will break the $1 range, reaching its prior resistance back in April of 2019, before COVID-19 had come around the corner. And we know those were major roadblocks. However, now the company is focused on execution, and with the CEO Puneet Dhillon, I have firm belief that this company is going to be adding value and really driving with the foot on the pedal. Now, next up I wanted to share with you is a medical device company that is in Roseville, California, and that is Innerscope Hearing Technologies. We are looking at INND's Twitter page, and what's great is that there remains to be a few more steps for INND to officially become pink current on the OTC market. So what's left, right? As you can see here, INND had published their annual report financial and disclosure statements ending in December 31st, 2020. And that's great because it's really going to allow for the next steps to take place by uploading its financial report for Q1 2021. And then there comes the attorney letter, and that will be the full checklist that INND has completed, led by Matthew Moore, to drive this company from non-compliant to compliant on the pink current market. And this is very huge because I'm forecasting that with INND having e-commerce set up with Amazon and Walmart, we're going to start seeing revenue come from that method of selling. And also with BJ's as a distributor, we're going to see revenue, cash flow coming from that different avenue. And the fact that INND has products that are 3 times the cost, that's much less than its competitor ear, while also adding value by having superior quality with its products, then it's really going to take on market share in this hearing aid space. We know that with hearing problems, it's a billion-dollar sector, right? I mean, billions of patients all around the world are affected with this type of disease, and this company can really add value. So I do personally think that come Q3, Q4, we can see 10 to 20 cents. And I'm holding this company stock long term because I have vision that this company can really drive up its share price relative to how well the business performs. And medical device hearing aids, I mean, it's a very high demand commodity, right? I mean, it's not a wanted product, it's a needed product, because when you have hearing problems, you're going to put that money out to really gain value with being able to hear. So I'm here to hear how this company is really going to add value to patients dealing with unmet needs, specifically in the audiology space. And with its CEO, Matthew Moore, he has solid experience in audiology, and he's really driving this company in the right direction, even though we've seen this company being shorted down to like the 1 cent. I mean, it previously ran all the way up to 7 cents, and went back down, and at one point it drove back up to 5 cents, where now it's hovering around the 1 to 2 cents. We're beginning to see some traction, so that's good news. And with this news here, I mean, it's only a matter of when this company will start gaining traction and heading in the right direction. And with cash flow coming in, that's really going to drive certainty and remove all the fears and doubts that investors of INND have experienced in the past. And as a result, the company's share price will start growing in future valuation, and confidence will start building with INND. So overall, to me, this is definitely going to be in the 10 to 20 cents range. Can it be by end of year? I remain bullish that that's a possibility. So let's not lose sight of what Innerscope can do for you. Next ticker I wanted to share with you is an interesting company. I've been making videos on iBio for many months now, for about close to a year now. And why do I like iBio so much? Well, I mean, compared to all other biopharmaceuticals, iBio leverages plant-made material, right? And that's the difference. And while having a patented process called fast farm technology, the operational expense really comes from the light electricity, the water pumps, and really just maintenance on facilities. And things can just be automated, right? With growing plants. Once you harvest the plants with support from Texas A&M AgriLife, you then distribute it back to iBio facility, and then you extract out the collagens, and then you make your vaccines for different diseases that you're studying. iBio has different vaccines that are in preclinical trials at this time for fibrosis, swine flu, and even on COVID-19. In fact, they have multiple drug products that they're working on, iBio 200, 201, 202, as a way to provide value in the COVID-19 pandemic. And we know that it's not one of the leading vaccine runners right now where they have received emergency use authorization. However, we know that there's 0 companies right now that have FDA approval on its vaccine drug product. So really just make sure you do things right, versus trying to speed up through the process, because this type of disease, this airborne disease, isn't going away yet. And it's very important that companies do it right the first time. And with iBio's patented technology, I have high belief that the company will be headed in the long run. I mean, especially if you're using plants, how bad can that be, right? And I just wanted to share with you an article here on its Twitter page, iBio. In addition to making custom fast farm manufacturing service available to drug developers, iBio will introduce the first handful of products in iBio's new catalog of plant-based recombinant proteins for researchers and bioprocess development professionals. Now, this is huge because in reading the article, you'll notice that now there's cholesterol extracted from plants, and that's basically going to be very important with mRNA in future vaccines to come. And basically, if cholesterol is produced from plant-based materials such as impurities and such impurities and contamination cannot occur, that's going to really add value. This production process is an important step towards overcoming the shortage of lipids in the production of life-saving vaccines needed across the world in order to successfully combat the pandemic. Now, this is basically going to be viewed as a toolkit with having cholesterol as an important part of the lipid cocktail to really combat the COVID-19 pandemic worldwide. So another great opportunity to come for iBio, I mean, as a contract manufacturer as well as a vaccine developer using plant-based technology. And it's really monopolized how they're developing their drug product, right? Because they're using plant-based material. So that's why I really trust the company in terms of where it's headed with its approach. And the fact that the company has expanded its facilities to San Diego, which is the central hub of like biotechnology, I have high conviction that in the long run, iBio will likely reach the double-digit share price range, and I'm holding on to iBio in the long term because I know that one day it will reach beyond the $30 share price range. So overall, just wanted to share with you my insights on these three companies: Skye Bioscience, Innerscope Hearing Technologies, and iBio, related to updates on these companies and why I am bullish on these companies for the months and years to come. So thank you so much for watching another episode here at All I See Is W. Let's say if you're new to this channel, please make sure to hit the subscribe and hit the thumbs up if you enjoyed this content. Thank you so much for your time. Have a wonderful day, all. Goodbye.